That night, the sky was pitch black without a single star. The whistling of bullets and the thunder of bombs shook the small village on the border. Houses were burning, screams echoed in every corner. Amid the chaos, a middle-aged man named Harun clutched tightly the hand of his 7-year-old son, Akmal. Harun was just an ordinary farmer. He had never learned to use weapons, let alone fight in a war. But ever since enemy troops invaded their region, he was forced to become a protector, not only for himself but especially for his only son. His wife was gone, killed when the first bomb hit their home 2 weeks earlier. Since then, Harun and Akmal had been living on the run, hiding among the ruins and empty fields. They ate whatever they could find, often just scraps from destroyed homes. Despite the hardship, Harun never stopped comforting Akmal. He told him childhood stories, mimicked animal sounds, and sang lullabies while holding back his tears. He knew Akmal's fear was deeper than any child his age could express. One rainy night, they took shelter in an old warehouse. The heavy rain pounded the leaky tin roof. Harun held Akmal close as the boy burned with fever, shivering in his arms. He knew his son's body was weakening, and there was no medicine, but giving up was not an option. The next morning, Harun decided to take Akmal to a safe zone in the neighboring city, 60 kilometers away from where they were hiding. The road was filled with enemy patrols and treacherous terrain, but he believed it was the only hope for Akmal's survival. Their journey began through wet fields and dense forests. Harun carried Akmal on his back, too weak to walk. Every step was a challenge, every crack of a branch a possible threat. But Harun kept moving, driven by love and desperation. At a military checkpoint, Harun narrowly avoided capture. He hid with Akmal under a bridge, holding their breath as the shadows of soldiers' boots passed just meters away. His heart pounded, but he knew one sound could be the end of everything. After escaping that post, Harun and Akmal met an old woman who gave them dry bread and a little water. "Your child must survive," she whispered. Harun nodded, his eyes red from tears he refused to shed in front of his son. On the 4th day, Akmal passed out. His body was burning hot, his breathing labored. Harun nearly lost hope. He wept while holding his son by the roadside, praying for God not to take away the only thing he had left. But at dawn, Akmal slowly opened his eyes. Harun smiled through tears. He knew this small miracle was a sign that their journey wasn't over yet. They moved forward more slowly. Harun fashioned a simple stretcher from branches and cloth, dragging his son with what strength he had left. He didn't care that his feet were bleeding or his shoulders bruised. What mattered was that Akmal was alive. One night, they found an abandoned old church and decided to sleep there. Harun cradled Akmal in his arms, whispering prayers. He also wrote a letter, placing it in Akmal's shirt pocket, just in case he couldn't go on. The next day, Harun began coughing badly. The cold air and lack of food were taking a toll. But he still smiled in front of Akmal, hiding his pain. He knew his son needed hope, not fear. 2 days later, they finally approached the safe zone. The sound of helicopters and sirens echoed in the distance. But just then, a group of enemy soldiers blocked their path. Harun quickly hid Akmal behind some bushes and stepped forward. "Please, don't hurt my son," he rasped. But the soldiers didn't care. One of them raised a gun. Harun gave Akmal a faint smile from a distance. "Never stop walking, son." A gunshot rang out. Harun's body collapsed. But before the enemy soldiers could get closer, reinforcements from the city arrived, forcing them to retreat. A soldier found Akmal sobbing next to his father's body. In the boy's shirt pocket, they discovered the letter. Its message was simple: "If you find this boy, please take care of him as I have. He is everything to me." Akmal was rescued and taken to the safe zone. His body slowly recovered. But the memory of his father never left him. Each night, he would look up at the sky, searching for a star, remembering the stories his father used to tell. Years later, Akmal grew up to become a volunteer doctor in conflict zones. He never forgot those painful days. In every life he saved, he felt like he was repaying a small part of the immeasurable love and sacrifice his father had given him.